Woodbury Journal with Louella Parsons. Woodbury Facial Soap presents Louella Parsons, whose motion picture column appears in 950 newspapers with over 30 million readers. Miss Parsons' special guests tonight are George Raft and Mona Freeman, brought to you direct from Hollywood by famous Woodbury Facial Soap. True beauty soap for the skin you'll love to touch. And here with the latest Woodbury Hollywood headlines is Louella Parsons.
Hello from Hollywood to all of you. My first exclusive. On Wednesday, when Robert Mitchum goes into court, he'll plead not guilty to charges of violating narcotic laws. His lawyer, Jerry Geisler, confirmed this to me only today. Geisler, however, declined to say any more, but I'm told he has some sensational evidence to support Mitchum's plea. My second exclusive. The lawsuit Hedy Lamarr filed against Look magazine for $200,000 for saying she had undergone plastic surgery will soon be withdrawn. Not because Hedy feels she hasn't got a case, but because Cecil B. DeMille insisted that she drop the suit before he would sign her to a contract to play Delilah in Samson and Delilah. My third exclusive. George Stevens, director of the hit movie I Remember Mama, has been secretly divorced for over a year. And that's really a surprise, because he and Mrs. Stevens are so often seen together. When I questioned George today, he said, yes, it's true, but my former wife and I are still very good friends. And still another exclusive. Milton Berle is facing a battle to a finish. His ex-wife, Joyce Matthews, left for New York yesterday to fight for the sole custody of their 3-year-old daughter, Vicky. Berle now has the little girl 3 months of the year, but Joyce wants her all the time so they can live together in California. Look for the reconciliation of Jane Wyman and Ronald Reagan very soon. This in spite of all the talk that Jane and Lou Ayres are madly in love. She sees Ronnie every day, and their closest friends hope and believe it will be only a matter of time before they're together again. Plans are being made to film the dramatic life story of Mayor William O'Dwyer of New York City. Producer Milton Sperling is just back from New York, where he had 3 conferences with his honor. Sperling goes back again next week when he hopes to sign the actual contract. O'Dwyer is insisting that some part of the money go to charity. In spite of Rita Hayworth's insistence that there is no romance with Ali Khan, son of the Indian potentate, I happen to know that Ali arrives in Hollywood early in January. He'll be the house guest of the Darrell's Annex in Palm Springs. And who else would bring him here except the lovely Rita? What actually goes with June Allison and Dick Powell, old friends? When she's in town, he isn't. Dick was away and came back to take June on a fishing trip, so she often goes to New York with Gloria DeHaven. June and Dick keep denying there's any trouble, but it looks very suspicious, even to us who are their good friends. Friends of David Selznick and Jennifer Jones say their marriage will take place in January. From time to time, this romance has hit snags. But everything's beautiful now. Speaking of Jennifer, she'll play Trilby, and James Mason will play Svengali when Jesse Lasseter makes the picture. At one time, Mason said he'd only play in Trilby if he could have Rita Hayworth. But apparently, both Jennifer Jones and the money made him change his mind. Or did James get that $150,000 plus 50% of the profits? I wonder. I got news for 20th Century Fox. Nancy Giles and Charles Russell are expecting a baby in March. Goodness me, this eliminates 3 leading ladies from 20th for some time. I mean, Jean Crane, Jean Tierney, and now Nancy are all waiting for the start. Politics moved to Hollywood last week with a vengeance, when President Truman and Governor Dewey made speeches within hours of each other. Conspicuous on the Truman platform were Humphrey Bogart, Lauren Bacall, and Ronald Reagan. Equally conspicuous with Dewey were Barbara Stanwyck, Ginger Rogers, Lionel Barrymore, George Murphy, and others. Hollywood applauded Dewey's statement that he'd give our Governor Warren full partnership and that he would jail all communists who break the law. Now I know how a sari is worn. At a dinner party, Mrs. Dolly Walker gave honoring the Maharaja and the Maharani of Jaipur. The young and pretty Maharani undid yards and yards of pale green tulle, embroidered in gold, folded all around her. It would have taken a special technician for most of it to get it back together again. Mrs. Ray Milland, who was watching with me, decided to stick to American clothes. So did Greer Garson, Mrs. Charles Boyer, Constance Moore, and Ann Miller. But all of us would have known how to put on the Maharani's fabulous diamond necklace. Tomorrow, Mrs. Mervyn Leroy is announcing that her beautiful daughter, Rita Wren, will marry her childhood sweetheart, 25-year-old Thomas Lynch. They'll have a church wedding in Chicago on December 11th. That's the nicest wedding news I've had in a long time, Marvin. Now we'd like to hear your Woodbury wedding news.
Girls, if you want to stand out as the someone he wants to know better, well, it's wonderful how Woodbury Lovely Skin can catch and hold his eyes. Take tonight's romance. At a Georgia Tech fraternity dance, football star Paul Duke danced with Woodbury Deb Jean Fraser. Danced once, danced twice, and couldn't take his eyes off her Woodbury smooth sparkle. Yes, for the come-hither romance appeal of her skin, Jean tosses a big bouquet to Woodbury. In her words,
I do thank Woodbury. Beauty care that's truly mild.
Woodbury is extra mild.
With creamy, rich lather.
A rich beauty cream ingredient goes into Woodbury, actually a skin smoothing ingredient.
To keep skin smooth, satiny, it's Woodbury facial cocktails. First, it's mild lather massage, then rinses.
The beauty reward?
Skin that glows, looks romantic.
Only Woodbury, of all popular facial soaps, contains this beauty cream ingredient. That's why Woodbury is really different, a true beauty soap, to coat your skin to its softest, freshest beauty. Remember, Woodbury facial soap, for the skin you love to touch.
In 1930, a patent, leather-haired unknown named George Raft slipped a nickel in Scarface and parlayed it into what is today one of Hollywood's most colorful careers.
I've still got that nickel, Louella, and practically nothing else.
George, what about such treasures as those golden girls I always see you escorting?
They're the reason I haven't anything left but that nickel.
You just created some trouble for yourself with that remark, my friend. Since you are my chief guest of this evening, I won't call you a WOLF, but I'm going to ask you how a WOLF like you shines glamour.
How you talk, Louella. You know me. I've owned prize fighters and I've won. I've owned racehorses and I've won. I've dated beautiful girls and I've lost.
That's not the way I hear it, George. But I have heard that the first time you date a girl, you always let her pick the place, the food, the dance band, or whatever it is. Is that true?
Yes, Louella, that's true.
Well, that's very sweet of you.
That's very cagey of me that way. If anything goes wrong with the date, it's really not my fault.
Well, I've always heard that you always send a girl 11 roses. Why 11?
Because she's the 12th rose.
Oh, George. What do you do if her name is Lily?
Well, Louella, let's talk about my new picture. The name of it is Outpost in Morocco. I produced it, and we actually shot most of it right in Morocco. What a place. We had hot water for only 1 hour a day and electricity for only 1 hour at night. Mighty interesting in Morocco.
Well, not as interesting to me as your reaction to blondes. George, why do you always choose blondes?
Well, probably because as a kid I was called Brownie and always resented it.
Will you tell me the name of your favorite of all blondes?
Sure, Louella. Carol Lombard.
Well, Carol was everybody's favorite, George. But now stop dodging. Name your pet of today.
All right. Ava Gardner.
Oh, but Ava's not a blonde.
She could be. I've known darker girls than she who made it. But, Louella, can't we talk about Outpost in Morocco now?
No, but I'll talk about your career. What do you think is the secret of your success besides blondes, you know?
Sure I know. Don't you?
Well, you're handsome and you're charming.
And you can stop right there being so flattering. I'll tell you why the public keeps on coming to see me.
All right, tell me.
Well, the public thinks if they keep on coming to see me long enough, they may catch me acting. But they never will catch me, Louella, never.
Oh, you're marvelous. Just like the little blonde.
Goodbye, Louella. And by the way, you could wish me a happy birthday.
Well, I do wish you a happy birthday, honey. Of course, I know it's your birthday. Happy birthday, George, and many happy returns of the day. Also, happy returns as a guest on my Woodbury show.
Thanks, Louella. Good night.
Good night, George.
Girls, why not make a double beauty date with Woodbury? Yes, to your daily facial cocktail, add the delight of Woodbury Beauty Baths. Lather so creamy mild, your shoulders, arms look silky soft, ever so lovely. And no wonder, for Woodbury contains a beauty cream ingredient, actually a skin smoother. That tells you start your Woodbury Beauty Baths tonight and win a beauty complexion all over. Woodbury Facial Soap, true beauty soap, for the skin you love to touch.
My second guest this evening is Mona Freeman, the young girl whom designer Edith had told you is Hollywood's best young star. Mona, I didn't realize until the fan mail began pouring in after Edith's broadcast on this show that she was such a style setter for the sub-debs. But, Mona, they all beg for your advice. So fess up, how do you dress up?
Miss Parsons, I don't. All I can manage on my income is to dress down.
But how does a pretty girl dress down? What's the first rule?
Well, since everything you buy has to be right, because you can't afford to make mistakes, the first rule is to know your worst faults and how to hide them.
Good. What's the next step?
Well, I think it's realizing that the best-dressed girls are the ones whose clothes you don't remember.
Whose clothes you don't remember? Mona, you've just set the style industry back 10 years.
Oh, the style industry. Honestly, Miss Parsons, they are horrible to us junior earners. Those outlandish prices. You know, if you're a young bride as I am, a high-style dress costs as much as a divine antique table. And I'd rather buy the table.
Tell me, Mona, how many dresses a year do you actually buy?
Only one.
Only one?
Mm-hmm. Usually a print in one suit. And that makes 2 outfits. Then I get all the things that go with them. You know, hat, bag, shoes.
To attain a reputation as the best-dressed girl on 2 outfits a year seems miraculous to me, Mona. Just how do you shop?
Well, I never buy a hat and then hunt for a dress, or a dress and then hunt for the hat. I mean, I plan it all out first, and I never carry clothes over from one year to the next. But the real saving trick is to dress for men exclusively.
Well, I'd like to know myself how that works.
Well, it really works through being perfectly groomed always, which doesn't cost anything. A man will say, "Oh, aren't you wonderful?" But another girl merely murmurs, "That's a nice dress. Who made it?" You see?
I see that you're so smart, Mona. I'll tell your fans to go and see you in your next Paramount picture. Isn't it romantic? And I'll go to see it, too.
Wonderful. Thank you, Miss Parsons.
Thank you, Mona. Good night.
Here's last-minute news.
The first call that Jane Withers received after the birth of her baby this morning was from Shirley Temple. Jane and Shirley were contemporary child stars, and now both little mothers have girls. Jane's baby's name is Wendy Lee Moss.
Next Sunday, same time, same station, another edition of the Woodbury Journal featuring Louella Parsons. Until then...
This is Louella Parsons saying that's all for tonight, but I'll see you next week when my guest will be Columbia's famous and popular star, Glenn Ford, whose last picture is Loves of Carmen.
This is Marvin Miller saying good night for Woodbury Facial Soap, true beauty soap, for the skin you love to touch. Have you tried the new Woodbury powder? Janet Lee, currently featured in Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer's Technicolor hit Hills of Home, says new Woodbury has the most excitingly lovely shades I've ever seen. In nationwide tests, 4 out of 5 women preferred Woodbury to the powder they were using. Woodbury powder is twice new. A new secret ingredient gives satin smooth finish to your skin. A new revolutionary process gives warmest, liveliest colors, finest texture. Get new Woodbury powder for just $1. Smaller sizes only 15 and 30 cents. George Raft is currently appearing in RKO's Race Street.
This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.